Colbert's essentially lying. Being like, well, the Trump administration has shut us down.
This is not the Trump administration banning James Talarico. This is the late night deciding they don't want to give Jasmine Crockett equal time.
And of course, most of this was set up by the establishment Democrats attempting to get a little bit of exposure for a candidate that's otherwise as boring as Wonder Bread.
All this is lies. He's just straight lying to his audience.
The Democrats can fake a foul better than LeBron James.
100%.
Which is incredible.
Washington politicians are always getting in your wallet. Now they're messing with your credit card. Your credit card and the security it offers are under attack. The Durbin-Marshall credit card bill would change the nation's payment system to benefit corporate megastores like Walmart and Target at the expense of everyday Americans. Credit cards keep your payments secure and provide rewards that families use to help make everyday purchases more affordable. The Durbin-Marshall mandates would let corporate megastores cut corners on credit card processing, routing transactions over cheaper, untested networks with weaker security and fewer protections. That means higher risk of fraud, greater chance of stolen personal data, and the loss of rewards programs, just so corporate megastores can pocket billions of dollars in higher profits. Tell Congress to guard your card. Visit guardyourcard.com to take action and learn more.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
Keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs.
It's time for our main event.
Good Thursday to you. Welcome back to the Ruthless Variety program. I am Josh Holmes, along with Comfortably Smug, Michael Duncan, and John Ashbrook, left to right across your radio dial. It's weird. There's all kinds of strange stuff happening in the world right now, but we need to examine some components of it because it's confusing. But you know that's why you listen to us. We're going to break some of this stuff down. It's primary season.
Yes.
Which, you know, if you're like a regular political person, you follow the news and you are interested in elections and you have a point of view, you know, you're waiting until summer and fall of next year to get like super engaged in all of this. For people who do this for a living, this is like 6 to midnight territory.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's so especially for folks who've worked in politics, there's nothing more stressful, but in my opinion, more thrilling than a primary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that is because it's one thing when you're fighting against the Dems. It's like, oh, of course, we all hate them. But a primary is a whole different ballgame where it's like you're actually seeing the knives out and you're seeing who's actually good on their feet and who's out there to stab people. I love it. I love primaries.
Because on both the left and the right, the differences are often infinitesimal in terms of what it is that they plan to do. So it's stylistic, it's presentation, it's relative youth and vigor, it's all these things that are all jammed to the forefront and nobody's paying attention, so they got to scream super loud.
And also, Republican primaries are a lot more honest than Democrats. So it'll be like, in South Carolina, we decided we're just going to rig it, folks, and it's Joe Biden, and we cut deals with like, what?
Well, I think that's what makes this primary season so special is that all of a sudden you see the Dem Civil War playing out in Technicolor in a way that we haven't in a very long time. Because to your point, the media always just wants to cover the Republican infighting. They want to brush the Democrat disagreements under the rug. But now we get to see it on full display. And, you know, Democrats have knives too. They hate each other too.
And as we're gonna talk about, Democrats and the media will even try to use the media to hide and say it's Republicans to blame when it's actually infighting.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a hell of an episode. We're going to start with that in a second. Just to let you know, Coach Dooley is one of the candidates in Georgia for a very important Senate seat that is up this cycle, is going to be joining us here at the end of the program. Let's start on the Democratic side, because I think what we've seen, to the point that you guys were just making, is Democrat infighting in the establishment levers of power that they have used to just basically proclaim Joe Biden as the winner, despite never winning any primaries and everybody else dropping out. Like, they have these things. They're antiquated in many ways.
They
And
still have their cigar-filled back rooms.
yeah. And they always, and I mean always, run right through an establishment media, a compliant group of stenographers, actors who are going to carry out the message on behalf of the Democratic Party. So you'll recall, I mean, we interviewed Cornyn. We're going to have Hunt and Paxton on in the Texas Republican side of the Texas Senate seat primary. On the Democratic side, they've got something just as ugly, where Jasmine Crockett captured the hearts and minds of the progressive left, a media darling in many ways. You can see her any night on CNN or MSNBC, has run up against this guy, James Talarico. Pastor OnlyFans is what we've called him, and the establishment Democrat Party, not surprisingly, wants the white guy.
Yep, that's the thing is, again, folks, there's a lot of oppo out there on James that the Dems don't want you to know about, and they're trying to cover the whole story with this like made up thing of like, oh, you know, he's a guy who just likes chicks or whatever. But this is an example of them trying to straight up just cut Jasmine Crockett out in terms of following the law on equal time.
Yeah. Well, and they have this recurring thing, was a Beto thing for a while, where they dream of Texas and they always try to find a younger dude who basically can either lie his way into the mainstream of the Democratic Party, but they know they're going to have to, by hook or by crook, because Texas is not a Democrat state, by hook or by crook, they're going to have to field some kind of a candidate who can compete in a general election. And this is just the guy. This is a guy who will say absolutely anything to get a little further down the road. So how do they go about doing that? It's an interesting case study that we've seen play out over the last couple of weeks. You recall the big consternation between the Trump administration's FCC with Brendan Carr, good friend of the program, telling late night television show hosts, Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, those are the two primary offenders. The View would be another, that are on broadcast television. The FCC has a regulatory responsibility to ensure that that doesn't become campaign television. There is a distinction between cable television, of which they have actually no oversight on the content side, and broadcast, which utilize American broadcast airwaves. They have a responsibility at that point to monitor content to ensure that they are not putting thumbs down. And they have something called equal time.
Yep.
Equal time, as it has been presented to the general electorate, is an argument against Brendan Carr enforcing long-standing principles that were previously just observed. They weren't. You didn't have to enforce these sort of things because people were thoughtful about what kind of content that you put out. If you were talking about David Letterman or Jay Leno or Johnny Carson, you certainly weren't going to have a primary candidate state legislator without any national import whatsoever on a show. That's a spot that's reserved for like the president of the United States. Because why else would you be talking about politics?
Exactly.
Right.
On late night television, a comedy, end of the day type release. Well, they've perverted all of that. And you've seen Colbert and Kimmel and The View and places like that on broadcast television take it to a point where they're basically just running establishment Democratic campaigns. And they're bringing in people that no one could care about at all to try to give them a little bit of exposure, try to give them an ability to fundraise primarily to get a little more money in those coffers. So what happens is all of a sudden the Colbert Show announces James Talarico, which is a hilarious prospect. This is a dude who has not a lick of influence on anything that it is that you do on a day-to-day basis. He's not funny. He's not particularly interesting. He's a state legislator in Texas. Like, think of a lineup of people who have more import to the viewership of CBS's late night television than James Talarico. You could probably go through 100 million Americans before you landed
on a state
James.
senator from Texas.
Yeah, right?
Right.
But because the Democratic establishment, Chuck Schumer, has decided that in order for us to actually push the sun back in the sky and be competitive in a midterm election where our map doesn't look good, we got to make sure the Republicans spend an awful lot in Texas, even if we don't win. So therefore, now James Talarico, and I'm sure you've heard his name because they push it out everywhere as if this is a thing, is a guest on the Colbert Show. Well, he runs into the same problem that Brendan Carr has been talking about. Now, typically the way it's been framed to the American people is that this is a partisan divide. All that Brendan Carr and Donald Trump want to do is to ensure that Republicans have the same share of voice as Democrats. Well, that's not what the rule is. And to their great credit, they enforce it no matter what. It has nothing to do with partisanship. If you're running in an election and you put somebody on a television set, you have an obligation in broadcast airwaves to air their opponent, whomever they might be, in that party's primary, in which case it's Jasmine Crockett. They don't want her. She's on TV almost for a living. And
Right.
to be honest with you, quite entertaining. As most of you who listen to our program have found out. We play jazzy clips almost every week. Very funny. The Epstein one was the funniest.
Yeah.
Jeff Epstein accusing somebody of the Jeff Epstein thing, being like, he was a dentist in New Jersey. And somebody's like, yeah, I met any Epstein.
Right.
Anyway, so this whole thing goes down. And we want to do a little
Table setting on this.
case study here on the Variety program, which is they at the late night, at the late show, have said that they've been censored, that the FCC cannot air this
That's critical.
thing.
That's how they're packaging this.
They cannot air it. It is being the Trump administration has decided that what it is that they're going to do with this interview cannot be seen. And so therefore, we're going to have to put it on the internet.
Yeah, got to put it on YouTube.
We got to put it on YouTube in order for people to see it because they're regulating us out of existence. So we thought here at the Variety program, we're going to air what Stephen Colbert himself says here on YouTube about the setup of this interview to see if they blow the flag on this.
Yeah,
Now, if you're watching on YouTube, tell us what you think is going to work here.
Well, we're going to put up this episode and we are immediately going to get a copyright claim from CBS on the footage we're about to play you, and they will essentially censor the Ruthless Variety program, despite the fact this is fair use.
It's fair use, and
Now-
we're doing commentary on the clip.
Of course.
But
Which is politically protected speech. And I'm sure we will win that complaint on YouTube, 100%, but they'll do it.
But if you're watching this at 5 a.m. when this thing comes out and you're surprised by the blank spot that you're about to hear, it's because CBS, who claimed that the federal government was attempting to block their commentary, is in fact blocking you hearing their commentary on our show. Right? So there's an irony involved in this. You got to hear clip one.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Talarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast. Then I was told in some uncertain terms that not only could I not have him on, I could not mention me not having him on. And because my network clearly doesn't want us to talk about this, let's talk about this. You might have heard of this thing called the equal time rule, okay? It's an old FCC rule that applies only to radio and broadcast television, not cable or streaming, that says if a show has a candidate on during an election, they have to have all that candidate's opponents on as well. There's long been an exception for this rule, an exception for news interviews and talk show interviews with politicians. On January 21st of this year, a letter was released by FCC chairman and smug bowling pin Brendan Carr. In this letter, Carr said he was thinking about dropping the exception for talk shows because he said some of them were motivated by partisan purposes. Well, sir, you're chairman of the FCC, so FCCU.
Well, you got him. Body bag.
And like that's the comedian now that we have. That's like David Letterman, Jay Leno, and that's the, like FCCU's like I think one of Duncan's kids or Holmes's kids could come up with a better joke on them. That's like really pathetic to begin with. But the thing is that's important from this takeaway is Colbert's essentially lying, being like, well, the Trump administration has shut us down. Our lawyers because they're also trying to kayfabe that like, CBS is having this internal war of the ownership wants to support Trump and they're silencing the resistance. All this is lies. He's just straight lying to his audience.
The Democrats can fake a foul better than LeBron James.
100%.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Because
It's like
he'll
a
sell it.
soccer player in Real Madrid. They just trip and fall, and there's a foul there somewhere. But this is what they do.
Right.
And of course, most of this was set up by the establishment Democrats attempting to get a little bit of exposure for a candidate that's otherwise as boring as Wonder Bread, left out for 8 days.
Fellas, the beauty of this, to get back to what we were saying a few minutes ago, the beauty of this is that the Democrats' primary process is now out in the open.
Yeah.
Okay. We know one of our favorite skits on Saturday Night Live is the David Pumpkins skit, right? And in this case, for Democrats, David Pumpkins is Chuck Schumer, and CBS and everybody like Colbert and others are the guys behind him saying, we're just part of it.
We're part of it.
You remember that? Like they're just part of the bit.
Yeah.
This was all swept under the rug, cycle after cycle. I remember very distinctly in 2020, there was a woman named Erica Smith, a black woman who was a state senator, who Chuck Schumer ran over for the cause of Cal Cunningham,
They wanted
who
the white guy.
ultimately was their nominee in North Carolina.
Kissing Cal.
Same thing happened in Kentucky. They wanted Amy McGrath as their candidate in the 2020 cycle. So who did they run over? Charles Booker. In Montana, they did the exact same thing. They wanted Steve Bullock, the governor, as their candidate. So they ran over this guy named Wilmot Collins. And Democrats have done this time and time again, every single cycle. And this is the first time we're seeing it play out. And I think we're all going to be better for
I'm
it.
just carrying the one here and doing a little bit of math. It seems like the black guy is usually the person who takes the heat from the Democratic Party.
That's the thing, is they will, whenever they have the opportunity, they think it's risky because they want to act like they care about black people. They want to tell all the black people to vote for Democrats, but whenever they have a chance, they're going to get the black person out of the primary and put forward the white candidate who they think has a better chance
And they're
of
like,
winning.
no, we represent the African-American community with this Wonder Bread white man.
And that's the funniest part of this.
Actually talked to
This
a
is-
black person before.
This is Chuck Schumer owning Jasmine Crockett. He's essentially decided he thinks she's a bad candidate, and he's trying to crush her campaign and make it look like the Trump campaign is trying to stop, or that President Trump is stopping Talarico from being heard.
And the beauty of it is he's playing over this huge controversy that Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert. Remember, Colbert's been fired. He's just simply serving out the remainder of his contract. Concession that I'm sure CBS regrets deeply at this stage because they put him in a hell of a spot. But he's lost that because they turned it into a campaign show. And of course, you can't do that with it's not just the equal time component. I mean, there's a lot of components that regulate his show that have turned it into just a political house organ of the Democratic Party. So how does James Talarico, why is it that he does this big foray about how they're not allowed to, and Brendan Carr is the guy who has stopped me from allowing you to hear this incredible speaker on behalf of the Democratic Party? Well, I'll tell you why. Graphic one. Talarico posts a tweet. They, first of all, promote it like hell online.
Oh, yeah.
And they say the Trump administration is blocking Stephen Colbert's conversation with James Talarico, as if there is anybody with two marbles in their head who would think that that is a newsworthy or an entertaining interview. It's not. Like, that's a guy that honestly should have to work super hard to get like the county ledger. So they created a controversy in which they blamed Brendan Carr and the Trump administration for not allowing it, when in reality, it is the same equal time rule that applies in this case to Jasmine Crockett, not any of the Republicans, because that is the race before us. Jasmine Crockett was uncontacted, according to her campaign, about this whole thing, which is where it became problematic. But Talarico creates the problem. Then he shows up and tells the world Renzel kind of email lists that he's been banned by the Trump administration from appearing on Colbert. He proceeds to raise $2.5 million. This is his own numbers. $2.5 million in 24 hours after, and what his set is after the FCC banned our Colbert interview.
Straight up lie.
the issue was never with the Trump administration. It was with the Jasmine Crockett campaign.
But they invoke Trump's name, and all of a sudden you have something to fundraise about.
Bingo.
So if you also listen to what Colbert has to say, he says that CBS banned him from doing even the mention, which he has courageously decided to do.
What a hero.
But if you look at Graphic 1A, CBS has a statement about this. Well, it turns out you change management. They don't go along for all of that. The Late Show was not prohibited by CBS from broadcasting the interview with James Talarico. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for 2 other candidates, including Jasmine Crockett, and presented options for how the equal time for other candidates could be fulfilled. The Late Show decided to present the interview through its YouTube channel, on-air promotion on the broadcast rather than potentially providing equal time options. Again, we're not talking about Republican candidates here, folks. You're talking about other Democrat candidates, and they refused to do it. Why? Chuck Schumer's got a guy.
Exactly.
And we talk all the time about how the media is full of Democrats, but this takes it to a completely different level. Think of how partisan you would have to be to participate in a game to manipulate the Dem primary based on polling because there's a candidate you're told will do better in a general. Think of how partisan you'd have to be to execute on something
Well,
like
you
that.
have to be an operative.
You'd have to be an operative. I mean, only an operative thinks that way. Jasmine Crockett she's entertaining.
Well, and that's what I find most interesting
about ratings, then okay.
Very obviously, this is not the Trump administration banning James Talarico. This is the late night deciding they don't want to give Jasmine Crockett equal time. And it reveals, I think, the most important thing about these late night shows is they are not actually economic enterprises.
Bingo. That's it.
Aimed to make money. Because to Ashbrook's point, she's way more entertaining. She'd be great ratings for them in their low ratings that they get.
That's the thing is the joke of this whole thing is it just makes it so much clearer that Colbert is a Dem operative because he would get better ratings with Jasmine Crockett. But Chuck Schumer and establishment Democrats think they have a better shot with Talarico, so he's willing to go along with this made-up shit.
I also want to put a finer point on this. We sort of alluded to it generally, and you mentioned it with like Amy McGrath and whatever. But like you, listener and viewer, you need to know what a well-worn path this is for statewide Democrats in the Trump era.
Yes.
Sarah Gideon, Jamie Harrison, Amy McGrath, Beto O'Rourke, all of these people had well-orchestrated rollouts of their campaigns, and an integral part of that was appearances on MSNBC or Colbert's show where they say the domain 5 or 6 times in order to raise millions and millions of dollars, right? And so this has been a hand-in-glove operation of Democratic politics for literally a decade.
Right.
So for Brendan Carr, just the accusation that they are a partisan outfit understates it. Like literally understates it. It is a sidecar super PAC for the Democrats that they have operated out of the broadcast airwaves that we all as taxpayers
that we're paying for.
That we own. And so and he confirms it immediately, right? Like he reads that excerpt from the letter and his response is fuck you. And it's like, okay, well, so then you are that thing.
and you know what makes it so ironic is that James Talarico is a local state elected a legislator. Okay. I remember specifically in 2020 that I was told, because I pitched these stories myself, that Erica Smith is not on the same level as Cal Cunningham because she is a local state elected legislator.
Amazing.
She is not a statewide person like Cal Cunningham. I'm sorry. Therefore, she's disqualified. And that was the reason they weren't interested in writing stories about a Dem primary. And now we have the local official on CBS.
So this is the kind of thing that you get from...
It's almost like they stand for nothing.
Well, this is the kind of thing that you get from Ruthless. It's not enough. When you're talking about media bias and you're talking about the current state of the corporate media, most of you think about that in terms of the framing and the choice of stories, about how everything pushes against Trump. It's all in a negative light. It's 100-0 in terms of the framework that you get on the evening news. Some of it is about the story selection, what they choose to cover. It's always the Democrat cause celeb rather than the news that actually affects you in any meaningful way. But there's also this soft underbelly that we just discussed, which is an operatives deal, where you're actually elevating something that has no import whatsoever to the audience that you serve, doing so in order to create something that doesn't exist. In this case, James Talarico. Nobody knows who the fuck this guy is. He's the most boring son of a bitch I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, they've always been full of shit. They've just gotten away with it.
Like, this is not something the Republicans think. You know what I mean? It's just not. It's not the way that we, like, you have a good candidate. It kind of doesn't matter. Beyond that, with it, it's just shocking how Democrats and the liberal left deal with this whole thing.
It's all fake. It's all made up.
Now, just in case,
they have to thread the needle on candidates because all of their ideas are worthless.
Yeah,
they can't run on their ideas. They never could. So they have to thread the needle because nothing they're doing is popular.
So just in case you were wondering, like, does Colbert really know Chuck Schumer? Like, do they interact?
Oh,
we've got a clip for that too. Of course, dancing Colbert, dancing Chuck Schumer, getting along and having a wonderful time. I mean, listen, we're just pulling back the veil of stuff that we've known for a long time. But you ought to know, because this isn't a Trump administration thing. It's about his FCC commissioner actually enforcing regulatory and legal frameworks that have been on the books for generations and looked the other way by the Bidens, by the Obamas, by all these other people who know that you don't have a Democratic Party without a House organ that is the mainstream media. Just is. It just is. It's the way that's the way they work. All right. So CBS says they didn't stop Colbert from doing anything. But you will not believe who's siding with Trump.
Ooh.
And the FCC.
Really?
I think we gave a little bit of a preview on some of that. She's pissed, and she's got a lot to say right after this.
Energy is all around us. It's how we move, how we build, and how we make every day a little easier. We're all around America's oil and natural gas, supporting 11 million good-paying American jobs across the country and powering our way of life. But energy demand is growing and fast. That's why we need to overhaul our broken permitting process to unleash America's abundant natural resources, strengthen national security, and create a future where American energy leads the world. What America builds today will help secure a more affordable, more reliable future with enough energy to go around for generations to come. Our country can't wait. We must pass permitting reform now to help secure American energy dominance. Because when America builds, America wins. America's oil and natural gas. Paid for by the American Petroleum Institute.
Okay, so we covered the fact that the entire Colbert operation was not a Trump administration thing. It was their unwillingness to air Jasmine Crockett against their preferred candidate, James Talarico. Again, hilarious that we're having the conversation. A Democrat's not going to win Texas. I mean, we're having this. There's a lot of Senate races out there where there are candidates that have some import and some significance as to what it is that you all do on a day-to-day basis. These are not them. But be that as it may, Jasmine Crockett was asked about all of this. Clip 2.
We did receive information suggesting that the federal government did not shut down this segment. We will do an official statement once we get another official statement that we anticipate is going to be coming from Paramount. It is our understanding that Colbert, either Mr. Colbert or CBS, decided that they would schedule a hearing. And this was because of a fear that the FCC may say something to them and that there may have been advice to just be on, and then they could clear the issue. It was my understanding that someone somewhere decided we just don't want to do that, and instead we're going to just do it this way.
Okay, so she basically said straight up that she was not offered equal time. And she was implying that the Colbert move was meant to ensure only Talarico got exposure before voting started. For some reason, she decided to have a press conference in a traffic jam next to the airport.
Yeah, I was going to say, was that on the tarmac at Reagan?
Yeah, it's not exactly the acoustics you're looking
Like, ladies and gentlemen, I found a truck stop next to an airport where construction is currently underway.
It makes you kind of understand why Schumer prefers the other guy.
Yeah, well,
Not good.
except for the fact that she just very clearly and concisely articulated exactly what it was that the whole issue was. CBS, they never were contacted by the FCC. CBS provided guidance to Colbert that they would have to have Jasmine Crockett on. They were like, no, thank you.
Like, hell no.
No, we're not going to do that. We want to just make sure that we can blow this up. So I'm going to do a segment that they can use and clip and send to donors to try to make it seem like Donald Trump is stopping me from broadcasting this brave person's voice in order for them to raise money. But I had no intention of ever putting Jazzy Jazz on or talking to the FCC for that matter. None of it. Anyway, that's the whole thing that went down. But this next clip, she puts a little bit more meat on the bone. Clip 3.
They name-checked you. I mean, they said this. The show was provided legal guidance that the broadcast could trigger the FCC equal time rule for 2 other candidates, including Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. What do you make of that explanation?
We actually received a phone call, and that was a little bit earlier today. And in that call, they explained that they actually told CBS that they could go ahead and move forward with the interview of James Talarico. They just needed to offer me equal time. I did not get a request from the Colbert show to go on. As you know, I've been on Colbert multiple times. And frankly, if we would have gotten an offer, that would have been great. But we're in the middle of early voting. So I'm kind of focused on being in Texas at this moment. I don't know what to believe, that's for sure. But I got that phone call as I was out talking to voters.
There's a few things there.
Dude, there's a lot there.
One, they're in the middle of early voting. So they wanted to do this right away to ensure that this had the maximum amount of impact.
This is a hatchet job
on the election.
Oof.
2, did you hear her say that she's been a guest on that thing before?
Yep.
How hilarious is that? Talk about an unmasking. Jazzy Jazz, infinitely more newsworthy than James Talarico, is still a pretty junior member of Congress out of the majority. I mean, this is not somebody who is a newsworthy person in of herself. It's that she says so many crazy fuck things that it's kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, we love you, Jazzy, just not right now.
Yeah.
Because we got to put our thumb on the
so
scale for
they
James.
invited
It's
her
insane.
previously. She had shown up previously. For what reason? We have no idea, because it's not import of the audience whatsoever. But in this particular case, they were unwilling to do so.
Straight up, cut and dry. While early voting is underway, they're like, we are not going to let her on the air. They're like, we can only have Talarico here. We're going to push Talarico, and then Talarico's going to come out and be like, look at all the money I raised. Like, straight up off this appearance. And they want to cut off any possible competition that he would have. Straight up. She herself. This is not some like conspiracy of the Trump administration. She herself says this. It's insane.
Well, it all leads to our question of the day here on the Variety program. Will CBS finally fire Colbert? I mean, they already did, but recall that they were giving him a year to end his contract. I guarantee they regret that.
Yeah, they do.
I'll guarantee they regret that. Will they take him off air? I don't know. I mean, the Jimmy Kimmel thing stirred up such a hornet's nest on the left when they tried to get rid of that clown that like it became a cause celeb. Maybe they just don't want to deal with it. I don't know. You guys have your thoughts. When you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Variety program, we read all of your responses and get back to you the very next episode. Make them funny because it's Fun Time Friday. Will they finally fire Colbert? Coming up next, your comments from last episode where we asked, can AOC actually win the White House? Interesting responses right after this. Okay, we asked you, can AOC actually win the White House? understanding how you would be dubious of such a thing, but also knowing we live in a wild world, we asked all of you, and to do that, we start with a voice.
Okay, first comment from Brian on a plate. Brian writes,
Great name.
AOC could win the Dem nomination, as the fellas pointed out. She has also attempted to wash away the DSA label over the last few years.
Democrat socialist.
If the map remains the same, I could see her making a play for the blue wall with the squad at her back. Arizona now has a +7 Republican registration advantage. Nevada has a Republican governor. And Pennsylvania has picked moderate Democrats, but never a socialist. If those 3 states hold, she has no realistic path. Love the show, fellas. I listen on Spotify and jumped over just to comment.
Thank you.
That's
That's awesome.
Thank you, Brian. I'm going to plate her off of it. That's a good comment. Comment 2, Dunks Runks.
This is from Eric Edwards. Eric writes, I don't believe that AOC could win the White House in the 2028 cycle because the Republican nominee, whether Vance or Rubio, would simply be too strong for her. Her performance at Munich is one that even Ajax couldn't clean up. When you are supposed to be talking global security and cannot answer a question about a possible China-Taiwan-U.S. conflict, you're toast. She sounded dumb and unprepared, and the DNC cannot ignore that. For all of the talk about the squad with AOC as their captain, she hasn't done one thing legislatively to point to as a policy win. I believe that even the DNC can see that her greatest political ability is garnering attention for herself. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Stay ruthless, fellas.
Comment. Great comment, Eric. Appreciate that. All right, Smuggles, what do we got for comment 3?
Comment 3 is from Jim Easton, and Jim writes, Hey guys, my wife and I listened to you on her account while drinking our morning coffee. You asked if AOC could win, and my answer is a big yes. They will run her as a moderate and unifier, just like Obama and Biden, while showing the Republican candidate as a MAGA NRA terrorist. We, the American public, being complete idiots, will buy into it. Then she gets in and runs the elite progressive itinerary. The governor election in VA is the latest example. Thanks for helping us get a great start in the morning. That's Jim from Fredericksburg, Virginia. And here's the thing. Jim makes a great point. The Spanberger situation of her being just like a Trojan horse, running as a moderate Democrat, getting in and going to the left of Bernie as soon as she can, I think is something that the Democrats want as their playbook in the midterms and in the presidential, like Jim points out. And I think a lot of Republicans need to wake up to that fact and let their neighbors know there's no such thing as a moderate Democrat.
There is no such thing. We've covered that widely here on the Variety program. Well, it's Thursday, and when it's Thursday, it's time for our signature game here on the Variety program, and that's King of the Hill. I believe I'm back into the contestant's seat, and you tried to ban him. You tried to cut him short, but he's coming right back at you. The old fat man himself, Steve Schmidt.
You have Steve Schmidt.
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
No, but he's breaking the law. We got a crooked judge, I think, right?
Oh, we definitely have a crooked judge. Yeah. Ashbrook has this all wired up for Holmes, like he did last time I played him.
I'm simply said we have a rule
Crooked judge.
that is strictly observed. The rule is that somebody has to sit out. They can't be play 2 consecutive weeks.
Steve Smith's jersey should be in the rafters. That's the fact. I mean, he peeled off like 5 wins on a row when the law wasn't enforced until I put my foot down.
Yeah.
And now he's back. It's like a menace. You know?
It is gratuitous that you're bringing him back. So
It is. It's an
cheat
insult
again.
to the game, the spirit of the game, and sportsmanship in general.
It's fine. I've got the reigning champion, Bill Kristol.
Okay.
And Ashbrook, crooked judge, is judge.
Yep.
And so you're
I'm the
bailiff.
bailiff.
Will you at least enforce some law and order in this call?
100%. Happy to.
Okay, let's go ringside.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. It's time for King of the Hill. In the red corner, fighting from Piero Madire's checkbook, and current champion of the world, Bill War Now, War Forever, Kristol. And now, in the blue corner, seeking a chance to reclaim his crown, the old fat man, Steve Schmidt.
Back in his rightful place right there in the ring.
Okay. Defending champion goes first, and I'm going to start with a banger. That is exhibit number 13, please. So this is Bill Kristol quote tweeting Andy Kim. Democratic politician from New Jersey. I'll summarize what Andy Kim's saying, but basically like kick ice out of New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Sort of standard Democrat fare. Not enough for Bill Kristol. Former Republican, never Trumper Bill Kristol has decided to get to the left of a senator who's a Democrat from New Jersey. Not enough, he writes. Actually, the first step to fix is to abolish ICE as it currently exists.
See,
he has gotten to the left of Democratic politicians.
Abolish
on ICE.
You gotta love never Trump conservatives being like, abolish ICE. Almost like they believe nothing and just say things for money.
Like what was a fringe position in progressive politics merely 4 years ago has now become the standard fare for never Trump Republicans.
It's amazing.
That's insane.
And they're trying to get to the left of basically anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a wild thing. All right. So Steve Schmidt, apropos of almost nothing, Exhibit 21, please. Canada is under threat from a vicious cancer, MAGA. It has crossed the border. The cancer must be stopped. The American people stand with the free people of Canada. The American people stand against their duly elected president of the United States with the people of Canada. That's a wild take. I have not seen that.
I think Ashbrook's also sympathized with the Canadians, which is why he'll give it to this crooked candidate, Steve Schmidt. Crooked judge.
I feel like there is a little bit of chirping out of the bailiff that is unwarranted in a solemn court.
I do. It's just like the apropos of nothing nature of that Steve Schmidt tweet. All of a sudden, talking about Canada.
I don't know what we did to Canada, by the way.
Like out of nowhere, it's insane. But Bill Kristol talking about abolishing ICE.
Yep.
Let's go.
I guess the new weekly standard is the lib standard. And for that reason, Bill Kristol.
Wow. Look at that.
It's an interesting interesting deal. Now, can I pop that exhibit up one more time that I just did? So you'll notice one of the new things that Steve is doing here is attaching a video of sorts. Now, we have not had a precedent in this particular courtroom about whether or not videos are allowed. We have said very clearly that you could characterize tweets that they're retweeting and that kind of thing. We have not had a ruling here. I do have another exhibit. I'm not going to play that one, obviously, but I do have another exhibit in which I think the video is relevant for the full consideration of the context.
Wait, so it's not enough that you're bringing Steve Schmidt into the game.
There's no
I
chance.
also want to change the rules.
Quiet.
Yeah, thank you.
Duncan's right. Playing video is insanity. Watch this crooked judge allow it.
Thank you.
Let me ask about the nature of the video. Is it apparent who created this or like?
I believe it's created. I think it's safe to say it's created by Steve himself. Yes.
Oh, well, Wolf knows the provenance of videos now?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I'm trying to make sure that I accurately characterize the provenance of the video.
Hearsay.
In this case, I'll allow it.
See? Crooked judge.
Okay, so we have a new precedent here. It's always worth celebrating.
Disgusting.
We're moving beyond the traditional bonds of a courtroom to live in everyday 21st century lives.
It's important. Steve Schmidt doesn't have enough of a leg up in this game.
This is insane.
You got to give him some extra juice.
Well, you knew Ashbrook would allow this. He's a crooked judge.
Exhibit 19, please, if you don't mind. Okay, this is Steve Schmidt saying Donald Trump is a domestic enemy of the U.S. Constitution, an enemy of democratic Europe. Save America MVM is playing this in Poland. It's extremely important to the free people of Poland that they hear the message from the opposition in the U.S. Don't be afraid, Poland. Now, Steve has done a fair amount of work overseas that he doesn't want you to know about, which is probably why it is that he has an idea of what this is playing. But you ought to have a look for yourself now that it's admissible.
Poland has seen evil descend upon it before. It knows the sound of fascist beats.
This is insane.
It remembers living with brutality,
you're not grabbing the
oppression,
gravity of
death, and tyranny. Poland is under threat and attack from the vicious cancer of America's fascist Trump and his incompetent ambassador Tom Rose. Pope John Paul II told the world, "Do not be afraid." We're here to tell you this. Do not be afraid of these American fascists. John F. Kennedy said the whole world was indebted to Poles who have been fighting and dying for centuries in the cause of freedom everywhere. Tom Rose doesn't care about Poland's freedom. Tom Rose embarrasses and shames Americans with his threats and silent treatment. How dare he threaten Europe's bravest people? How dare he? The American people stand with the people of Poland.
Okay.
Dude.
Judge, do you regret your decision?
Yeah, that dude.
Violating the rule of law.
That was like 20 minutes also.
Nazi
dude,
Germany. And also,
I think Duncan should get a chance. It's been 20 minutes, Judge. I think Duncan should be allowed to present something.
Make your play.
Okay. Let's do exhibit number 6, please. There's a graphic in this tweet. No video. I'm not going to break the rules of.
No, there's
King
not.
of the Hill.
It's allowed. There was a very clear court precedent.
So this is Bill Kristol. He puts, I guess he's quote tweeting the State Department graphic about being proud of America and our heritage. And he quote tweets it saying, "If you think there's nothing in our heritage or in any nations to be unapologetic about, you're a fool, a dangerous fool."
I'm so over this kind of shit.
A dangerous fool.
A dangerous fool.
Kristol, it's deranged, but it is run-of-the-mill Kristol deranged.
Okay.
That video.
Because you've guessed that after
That video where the script,
I'm so surprised.
where the script says he is threatening them
All right, we're not
and
interested,
his
Judge.
silence.
Let's keep this rolling.
It's insane. And I got to think Steve wrote that script.
I have to think so.
For that reason, round 2 goes to Challenger.
Yeah. All right, champ.
1-1.
What do you got?
Well, I don't have a video.
Yeah.
Well, you should have come
most
prepared
absurd
for
thing
that.
in this kangaroo court.
Kangaroo court.
Should have came prepared for that.
Exhibit number 8. Yeah, so this is Bill Kristol. I mean, this is cool on so many levels. Obvious point. Perhaps we're saying straightforwardly. Come on. In MAGA world, culture equals S race.
He was like, he didn't realize that equals doesn't need an S or apostrophe S. It's just an equal.
So it's
Wait, is that the...
yes. Okay, so first of all, like calling your shot being like, I'm going to say this straightforwardly, and then not making it straightforward at all. But in his head, when he types out the equal sign, it's equal.
This is equal.
So he
It's
added
not
the plural.
so he has to add an S. So it's a misuse of the internet. It's brain dead, and it didn't even accomplish what he tried to accomplish because he's a fucking idiot.
That's really good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Well, that's not up to you. You're my competitor.
I had. Well, I mean,
Judge. I mean, the commentary.
It is up to him because Ashbrook's in his pocket.
That's right.
that's outrageous.
Everyone knows this.
Someday I'll be
This
a
crooked
judge.
judge.
And when I'm a judge,
He's an insult to this
this
game.
is
Okay,
you're
bailiff.
disrupting the integrity.
let the
The
guy make
man's
his play.
own bailiff
Let the
is
guy make
attacking
his
the
play.
court.
Thank you, Smug.
That's outrageous. You both should be in contempt. If I was judge, you'd both be
I
out
had the
of here.
courage.
Outrageous. All right. Exhibit 18. It's also a misuse. May not be a plural type, but Little Marco's Munich speech was a shallow one by a hollow man. Now, for one, that is the most hilarious description of Marco Rubio's speech, maybe in history, in that even the fiercest critics of the Trump administration were like, boy, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like universal, right? Even the like Margaret Brennans of the world were like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, but this is like he has to undercut all of that. My favorite part is that he does his graphic thing, and this is a new thing that he's starting to do.
We've covered this multiple times.
Where he quotes himself.
this.
Yeah.
He's quoting himself in his own tweet. He's quoting himself and then attributing it Steve Schmidt and then linking to his Substack. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That sound you're hearing is microwave turning on for that
Are
tape.
you kidding me?
Dude, that
if
was
you
literally the
tweet
play
out a
played 3 times.
commentary,
You've done that like 3 times.
If you're
or the
quoting
5 times you
out-
played Schmidt in a row.
you're tweeting out your commentary that is
All right, we'll have order in this court.
passing along your own commentary and then citing yourself is one of the funnier moves. You have to admit that.
It's completely
It's no
offensive.
equal sign with an S.
Can we, will you put the Kristol tweet back up? As offensive as Steve Schmidt's misuse of the internet was and his ridiculous take on Marco's speech, there was something that stood out to me about this Kristol tweet, and it wasn't the equals S race, and it wasn't the formulation. It's kind of warmed over Kristol. What stood out to me is obvious, perhaps straightforwardly. This is a man who's
that's good ruling.
That is funny.
He's a writer for a living.
That's a good ruling.
Obvious, perhaps straightforwardly. What the hell is it? Does he need an editor? I think he does. For that reason,
straightforwardly is so good.
For that reason, Bill Kristol, the champion, retains his crown.
Yes, let's go.
Are you going to redact and extend your criticism of this court?
Yeah, can I say that Ashbrook is such a malleable, soft judge? He can get bullied into judgment.
It is
soft, malleable judge. Dude, you can work the worst.
Interesting.
Bullying works.
So by that hypothesis that you've just extended upon this courtroom, what I am to believe is that the bailiff, who is here to basically proceed over the hearings and make sure that there is an equal playing field, has instead decided to use his platform.
Only when it's me.
This is our victory, Smug. This is our victory. I shared this with you.
Only I'm allowed to do this.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are you
It's like
saying
sometimes you don't need a
the
filibuster.
bailiff was an advocate.
It's like sometimes you should have a filibuster, sometimes you shouldn't. That's how the rules don't apply to me.
Are we saying counsel had an inside guy here?
That's what's happening.
You made the ruling. It was your decision.
This courtroom is a fraud.
You're the judge, so I mean, it's up to you, bro.
There's a rumor going around that you had lunch with the bailiff yesterday. Is that true?
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah.
We
Did
get
you
lunch
plot?
every day.
Was there a plot?
We don't have to plot because we're already so
Dude, bullying
copacetic.
Ashbrook doesn't take like a lot of force to work. Right?
These guys are the libs in our courtroom. These are the Democrats who expect things to go a certain way every single time.
That's exactly right.
Because
And
they've
they'll
got it
try to
wired.
bully their way into it.
Well, it worked.
It works.
It did work. And for that, I'm eternally disturbed by it.
You won because Bill Kristol needs an editor, not because any other reason.
What a game.
It's just outrageous. All right, you guys want a little variety?
Always.
So we caught this the other day. There's a woman. You know how they everybody's bringing in weird pets into the airport and throwing a service dog thing on it and being like, yeah, I'm allowed to bring this duck. It's a service duck or whatever. We've seen all the crazy stuff. This one I think is the most brazen. Clip 4. Look at the size of that bull mastiff standing next to that woman.
Well, it's a Great Dane.
Is it a Great Dane? Is it a Great Dane? I mean, it's a horse.
Yeah.
For our audio-only listeners, this woman wearing yoga pants in an airport. First off, that's a little much, okay? And like a halter top. But the dog that she has, she could ride that thing like a horse.
Well, Jesus. Where are you going with that?
It's bigger than she
It's a
is.
family program for crying out
The
loud.
dog is bigger than she is.
Is that all? It was just an observation
And also,
of the
can I
size.
just say, like, why are women wearing yoga pants and gym clothes in public? Like, when did we all decide, you know what? I just stopped caring.
Isn't it a full third of women walking around an airport wearing yoga pants?
And that's
It's not like that's a one-off.
I think there's a little to what Duffy said that he's right. Like, okay, it's an airport. It shouldn't be I'm just wearing my athleisure. Like I just jumped out of the gym. I'm covered in sweat and disgusting little slob. I'm out in public. That's not how you dress.
But when
That's not what you do.
you should bring a 250-pound
Yeah.
pet with you. That's the incredible part of
big
it.
I wouldn't let her through security. I'd ask her to leave.
Your problem with that clip was her
I'm
midriff?
over it. I'm over that in public. Okay, you should for God's sakes, let's have some decency.
And you're
okay?
and you're
That's a little bit
maligning
much.
Talarico.
Just like Smug defended me in King of the Hill, I'm going to defend him here.
This is outrageous.
And that is...
we now have a mutiny on the set.
Yeah, that is just, the sort of woman who decides to wear an outfit like that
Yep.
is the sort of person who shows up with the Great Dane.
Exactly.
Who's like, I kind of just am addicted to attention.
Bingo.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
She's not wrong.
Yeah,
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
we should definitely on the variety program discourage women from wearing revealing clothes.
Yeah, have a little bit of class.
That's
have
what
a
we
little
should
bit of
do.
class.
Well, you encourage those sort of things and you get a dog in an airport that can shit a loaf of bread. Okay? That's what happens.
You gotta draw the
Look
line.
what you've encouraged.
You got to draw the line somewhere. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
If you're paying attention to the women, how will you ever find the time to pay attention to Smug?
Yeah.
Which is really...
Well, that's the issue here.
Exactly
the
what
issue
it
at
was.
hand. All right. So
Is that wrong? Or should be paying attention to me?
I need your attention.
something tells me the Talarico campaign is going to be paying a lot of attention to Smug.
Do it. They should.
All right. So this is animal genre. We're going to continue with this. What she should have brought if she wanted protection is not a 300-pound dog. She should have brought llamas. There's crime-fighting llamas. I was unaware that these
I had no
things
idea.
actually existed. A failed thief has been caught by police after being blindsided by a herd of llamas. You know, a llama, they kind of look like a
Yeah.
like a mini camel in some ways. You know, you
Like
have
covered in yarn.
Like an alpaca?
yeah, like an
Like
alpaca.
an alpaca, yeah.
Yeah. Heidi Price and Graham Oliver were suddenly alerted to an intruder in their fields when they heard the cries of their heroic animals on Monday evening. That would-be crook had only moments earlier stolen tobacco from a woman nearby when he darted off, but his escape plan was met with an unexpected obstacle. What is it that you say? Well, he jumped over a fence and into the farm off of Carnfield Hill in South Normanton, Derbyshire. Derbyshire.
Carnfield.
He was in Derbyshire. And
Is this like the Hobbit?
He
It's
took
like,
a wrong turn in Hobbiton.
yeah. What's going on? And he like
Hobbiton.
he stole some tobacco and hopped the fence, and the llamas are running amok now.
He stopped to light his pipe, and sure enough, there was a pack of llamas upon him.
Things are that hard in the UK? You got to steal tobacco?
I told you we'd bring it to
Thwarted by
life.
the llamas.
I told you we'd bring it to life. And it was suddenly confronted by 8 llamas. Not 1, not 2, not 3. 8 llamas.
Herd of llamas fighting God.
Which chased him through the field before surrounding him and blocking his escape. Heidi and Graham were swiftly alerted to the robber when they heard the animals crying out. They observed at the scene that the llamas had made an extraordinary citizen's arrest, keeping the thief under their watch until police arrived and carted him off to the station. Heidi said that this was after dusk, and the offender, who just escaped police and jumped over the fence to our farm, he had a torch with him, and he was running across the field. We've got 8 llamas, and llamas don't like people entering their personal space after dusk. I love there's a timeline associated with the llama security. If it's after dusk, you do not want to fuck with the llama.
Wait a minute. It's like you can't feed them or give them water after dusk. Everyone knows llamas freak out.
He had a torch?
Yeah, this is such an insane situation. They're like in the countryside. This guy's by torchlight out there trying to just steal some tobacco. Also, he never expected a herd of llamas.
Also, what does it mean to steal some tobacco?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What, are we talking like loose leaf tobacco in a bag?
I don't have an
He's
answer.
illegally harvesting tobacco when the llamas make a citizen's arrest. Like not on our watch,
Well,
friend.
Heidi goes on. She puts a little finer point on it when she says he literally made a circle around him and then started releasing their warning cry, which sounds like an old man laughing. This alerted my partner, who ran out of the house with the dog. They have more animals involved in this protection
There's like
of the tobacco.
multi-layers of animal security on premises.
Tobacco's got like a 3-form mammal.
Like, we're just happy you didn't get to the birds because you don't want the flock.
Wait till you see the Komodo dragons. They are pissed.
Their owner, Dr. Doolittle.
He saw a man surrounded by llamas in the middle of the field. He didn't know what to do next and looked absolutely terrified. The dog got really vocal around the man's feet, and he was scared of the dog as well. My partner led him back across the field to where he came from and back over the fence where the police arrested him. Heidi said she was really proud of her llamas, and rightly so. When all this was happening, they didn't spit onto anyone so as to keep their good manners, even when faced with adversity, she added. It was not only the manner in which the llamas provided security for the field, but it was the polite gesture that they were simply alerting authorities and blocking his passage.
Amazing story.
Well, there is a little bit more on the tobacco.
Okay.
The police spokesperson said we were called to reports of a woman having a number of packets of tobacco stolen from her Mansfield Road, South Normanton residence at around 6 p.m., clearly after dusk, on February 2.
So dude did just like a breaking and entering to grab some like packs of tobacco? Like what is that? There's a lot more to this story. There's a lot more to this story that we don't know about.
Well, there's a thief amongst us, and you can never be too sure and protect your property without a pack of llamas.
At least you got the llamas watching out.
Polite llamas. No spitting. No spitting. All right, when we come back, we got Coach Dooley right after this. Well, in our ongoing effort to provide you all of the information about all the candidates that are ultimately going to make up what is a Senate Republican majority, we're going to have one of our favorite interviews here. I've been waiting to meet this guy. Coach Derek Dooley, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me.
From a great state of Georgia.
Favorite interview already.
I mean, look, we wanted to meet you.
Put the pressure on me.
Well, you know, we're ball guys.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we like politics. We love ball.
Yeah. And you're experts in both.
Very nice. Wolf, clip that.
Yeah, let's keep that. Listen, you're running for the United States Senate in the great state of Georgia. It is a must-have. It is a must-have. Republicans have stumbled here a little bit in recent years. Obviously, Governor Kemp has held it down at the state level, but this is a place that has 2 Democratic senators. There's absolutely no business having 2 Democratic senators, and John Ossoff foremost amongst them. You decided to throw your hat in the ring. Why?
Yeah, well, I'm certainly not your typical political candidate. 3-decade career as a football coach, but you just said it. I mean, we need new leadership in the Senate that reflects the values of the Georgia people. Yeah. And, you know, this really started for me after COVID because I was just immersed in the job. I mean, I loved coaching. 19 years in college, 9 in the NFL. I loved what you did with young people. You were in the young people business. Mm-hmm. And, you know, our country can learn a lot from the locker room. I mean, there's no race, there's no income, there's no religion, there's no politics. And they all have these great dreams. They all have a lot of struggles. And you were able as a coach to use football as a vehicle to help create opportunity in their life that they might not have. And so it's really fulfilling. And I didn't even look up for oxygen. You know, I mean, that's what the life of a coach is. But what happened after COVID during the last administration, probably like millions of other Americans, it jarred me a little bit, woke me up. I felt like our country was getting driven off a cliff. And we had a senator here who was riding shotgun, supporting everything that was going on. And now, on top of that, I would turn on the TV and I became equally frustrated at what I saw going on in D.C. And, you know, you guys have been in it a long time. And I know this, that in my opinion, and I know the voters around Georgia feel this way, that Congress is not working for the people the way it used to. It just simply isn't. And I believe that because it's kind of set up that way. The incentives are set up that way that reward politicians. They don't reward the people. And what's been the result of that? You look at a lot of the careerism that's going on. And I know you guys were with Senator McConnell. He was iconic. But this careerism where people are staying up too long is an issue. Some of the corruption that you're seeing, whether it's through stock trading or whether it's other ways to, you know, gain wealth or fame. But the biggest thing is the inaction, where we drift from crisis to crisis and we're not working together to solve problems. And so the sentiment is people are more concerned about getting elected or being a celebrity than they are serving the people. We've sort of lost that. And I think that's why when you look around the country, voters feel the same way, and it's why they're starting to send different people to the Senate. You look at the 24 election. McCormick up in Pennsylvania beats a Democratic incumbent. You look at Marino in Ohio, beats a Democratic incumbent. You look at Sheehy in Montana, Democratic incumbent. All no political experience, but got a long career outside of, you know, politics where they had to exercise leadership. There was a lot of accountability. They were team building, whether it's military, business, coaching. And I think the people of Georgia feel the same way. And so each week I've been out, become more confident that we're in the right lane, and I'm the guy to do it.
It's interesting because we've talked a lot on the program about how sports and politics have this parallel track where it's the only two businesses where there are millions of fans on one side or another, and B, there are people who have never spent a day in it who all think you can do it better than the people who are doing it. But it does require, in order to do it successfully, people who understand the team mentality and what it takes to succeed, building consensus. And it seems to me like we've all followed your coaching career. That's got to be a part of what it is that you're selling here.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, in the locker room, you got viewpoints from all over the spectrum. Mm-hmm. You think there's people just come in and agree, and you have to find this common ground to motivate them to play together and respect each other and respect their differences and learn to love each other. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, that'll never happen in Congress. I can assure you, loving each other. But Congress used to be like that. When I was a kid, you could watch. The disagreements were just as passionate as they are today. The difference was the primary objective was to move the ball forward for the American people. Mm-hmm. And so they'd get in the room and figure it out. They developed relationships with each other and saw a lot of common good, even though we still have these differences. And that's the old-fashioned way. Mm-hmm. And that's what it takes. It takes people who have been in that world, who know how to deliver results. They come from an outcome-oriented industry, and they're not afraid to talk and work things out with people, because just yelling and screaming and blaming the other side for why something isn't getting done, how is that helping the people back in Georgia?
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah. Well said.
Coach, you mentioned you think one of the failures of our politics is that politics works more for the politicians than it does for the people. And, I love that message, and I think you're absolutely right. I just wonder, if you got to the United States Senate, what it's like a thing that you think is like something you would tackle first, pun intended.
Yeah, well, I've put about 20,000 miles on my truck since August, driving around all four corners of the state. It's a big state, and there's a lot of people, and it's very diverse. And what I found is, first of all, most people want the same stuff, the same things. They want to have a safe community. They want their kids to be able to get an education and or skills that can help them get a job and raise a family and afford a family. Yeah. And so that to me is always the priority. The fact that we're saying, affordability is an issue now, I'm thinking to myself, it's a damn issue every year.
Right.
Why are we surprised? Yeah. That's the most important thing for our people. They want to go work, have skills, work, and have a good job and get the government out of their life. That's always the focus. Congress loses, they take their eye off the ball and they get distracted by these other things. But if you say, what's my real priority? It's to attack this business as usual in D.C. Because I do think that there are a lot of reforms that we can do to change how Washington works for the people. I'm very passionate about it. Obviously, the line one is term limits for me. I've already said I'm going to only serve 2 terms. And I think term limits could fix 60 or 70% of the problem, because people aren't up there voting worried about their next election and the party or some other interest group putting pressure on them instead of figuring out to do what's right. So term limits is something, these government shutdowns. This is what I saw during 45 days when our government wasn't working. I saw congressmen go home, get paid, spend time with their family, go out campaign and raise money, talk about what a great job we're doing. And line one, their job is to fund the government. So why don't we have it where the government doesn't shut down if you don't reach the deadline, and you can't go home, and you can't get paid, and you can't debate about anything else on the floor until you fund the government. So there's a lot of reforms I think we can do. The stock trading deal. I mean, you got interns at banks who have greater restrictions on trading than congressmen who sit on these committees, whether it's digital currency, stock trading. I mean, the American people are fed up with this stuff, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I'm convinced, we all just go, well, that's D.C. That's what they want. That's D.C. Baloney. We can change that. Just change the incentives a little bit. And what's going to happen? Number one, you're going to get different people running for the right reasons. All right, that's number one. And then number two, they're going to be a lot more free to solve. But you only have about 12 years. I want to solve some problems. I want to get things done. And so you'll be more results oriented. You can't just kick the can down the road because that's going to be your legacy. And it all comes down to, why are you there? And if you're there to serve the people, then that's what should be your focus.
Coach, you mentioned all the miles you're putting on your truck, and Georgia is a gigantic, very diverse state, as you said. And, you talked about changing Congress and the frustration with Washington. You talk about affordability. I'm just wondering, as you're driving around the state, is there one particular issue you feel like comes up over and over and over again that you're like, I gotta get on that?
Yeah, it all starts with cost of living. It's a real issue for everybody. It touches everybody. The question is, what do we do about it? There's so many things, but when you talk about all the job creators in the business community, I ask them, I listen probably 75% of the time, and I'm talking about 25% because I've learned so much. I was a ball coach. Yeah. I'm not going to sit there and, tell somebody at the chicken plant, what they need. He knows it better than I do, so I'm listening. But I always end the question with, how can the federal government help you? 8 out of 10, it's get out of the way.
Yeah, totally.
Get out of the way.
Yeah,
all right, now, there's certain things where the government needs to be involved. Agriculture, big industry for us, and it's a national security issue. Yeah, there's certain things. There's certain regulations we got to do to protect people. I get it. But most of the time, we tend to screw it up and make things more costly. We kill jobs before they happen. We lengthen the time period. And that's just not healthy to raise wages and to create this cost of living issue. So that's got to be the priority, is cost of living.
You've had the good fortune of being around incredible leadership, basically your entire life, your whole family, your dad, everybody has been sort of in the business of football, around leadership in general. You've seen a lot of that. Nick Saban, somebody you coach with in various locations. Tell me about that as it applies to what it is that you're trying to do.
Well, you're right. I have been blessed. And my father, of course, I watched him serve our state for 40 years as a coach and AD with just a level of class, hard work, integrity, and respect for everybody. He really did represent the state. And that made an impact on me, on what leadership looks like. And he also had a tremendous moral courage to do what was right. And that's, when the times are tough, that's where leadership stands out, because you're setting the tone for the people. Of course, you mentioned Nick Saban. I was with Nick for 9 years, all right, which some people would say is my greatest coaching accomplishment. Making it 9 years, it's probably top 5 of all time, just so you know. The average lifespan's about 1.5 years for most coaches. All right, but listen,
McAfee is testing the limits of that number.
The worst thing McAfee can do is get a little too comfortable, because at some point it's coming. But after a week with Nick Saban, I was like, wow. I knew 2 things were going to happen. 1, we were going to win. He was good. And 2, he was going to make me better. He was tough on coaches, but
he's going to drag you along.
He was going to make you better. Yeah. And I used to tell all the coaches, listen to what he's saying, not how he's saying it.
Yeah.
Because there was no HR department in the staff room. It was there were fastballs getting thrown, and that's who he was. Yeah. And you either produced or you weren't there for long. Yeah. And I thrived in that environment. I just loved, and it helped me. I was raised by somebody. It wasn't easy at our house either. He wasn't.
Spoke your language,
holding my hand and singing "Kumbaya" at home either. And so I have, and I will tell you that I mentioned after COVID, and part of what drove me too was watching the leadership in college athletics. And so I'm looking at leadership across the board, whether it's what's going on in college athletics with NIL, what's going on in Washington, D.C. and Congress.
Yep.
And it disappointed me because I'm telling you guys, I have so much pride in this country. All right. I was 12 years old when Ronald Reagan got elected. And I'm telling you, he inspired something in me, inspired in the belief in this greatness of our country, the ideals it stands for, the opportunities it creates. And I got 3 kids in their 20s. And I want them to have the same pride in our country that I do. And we got a lot of work because the environment that our kids are in now, very different than I grew up in. But it always starts with leadership because leadership sets the tone for the country and it sets the tone for the organization. And that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Listen, you had a number of stops, all of which are incredible. I mean, you were at Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, we know about
Jerry
the Tennessee
Jones.
Volunteer. That's where I was headed with this.
Yeah, we all watched the Netflix.
We all watched the Netflix.
Man,
Like,
he's
tell
the
me about
best.
the Jerry Jones experience.
Jerry, I mean, he's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna share a story. with
Please,
how
that's why I'm
special
doing
he
this.
is,
Yes.
Okay. And I hope he doesn't get mad at me for this. But when I was coaching for the Cowboys, my son was a receiver at the high school.
Okay.
Okay. Jerry's grandson was the quarterback.
Oh, okay.
Steven, who's Jerry's son, who kind of runs football.
Yeah.
And Steven's like my age.
Yeah.
And so these Friday night football games became, it was a thing. And then the team was really good. Now, this is Texas 5A. All right. So it's
That's
big
real
time
ball.
football.
Yeah.
Well, they all of a sudden go on a run and they're in the playoffs. And the beauty of the NFL is you could go to those games. If I was in college, I'd have been out recruiting. And, that's NFL Friday night was yours. And so it was beautiful. And then they would be there. Well, they made it to the semifinals. And the semifinals were going to be played at AT&T Stadium. Well, the problem was it was on a Saturday now. And we were playing the Giants on Sunday at New York.
Okay.
And so our team charter
Supposed to leave.
leaves at noon
Yeah.
Saturday. And so I'm like, son of a gun. So I went to my son. I'm like, man, I hate it. I'm going to miss it. You know, you guys got to win. But I didn't even think they were going to beat this team. And so it's Friday at probably 1:30. Okay, now Friday afternoon at about 2, everybody's out.
Yeah.
It's the best. Fridays in the NFL is like the greatest day of the year.
That's what you get.
And I'm sitting in my office. I'm kind of doing some last minute things, getting ready for the meetings. And my phone rings, my desk phone, which I didn't even know I had a desk phone. It's like, what the hell is that?
What is this
Yeah,
thing?
I mean, literally, we have a desk phone. And I pick it up, and it says, Derek, it's Marilyn. Hold for Jerry. It's Maryland's his, and I went, holy smokes. I'm like,
I'm getting fired.
yeah, I'm like, my first thing was, what did Dez do? I'm coaching Dez Bryant. I'm coaching Dez. I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I mean, you know,
Yeah.
nobody,
anything.
you don't get this call. Dooley, hey, Mr. Jones. He goes, listen now, don't even show up for that charter tomorrow because you ain't got a seat on the plane. I'm like, sir? He goes, yeah, your ass is going to be in AT&T Stadium watching them Highland Park boys play. He goes, you can ride up with me and Steven after the game.
Oh, man. Yes.
Nice.
Wow.
And I said, that's unbelievable. I said, I got to, let me run it by Coach Garrett. You know, he goes, I'll take care of Coach Garrett. You just show up. Hey.
Buddy, you see in front of your
listen,
paycheck.
Yeah, who's paying for all this?
It was the greatest win they pulled off. And
they won.
And I'm riding up in
Amazing.
in his private plane after. And he goes, let me tell you something. He goes, you don't ever miss opportunities like this. And I told him, I said, you know, he's running this multi-billion-dollar empire.
Yeah.
And for him to think of a wide receivers coach who I'm just like the smallest spoke on the wheel of all time, to think of me like that, it really made an impression.
Yeah.
And I will, like, you want to know why people love him and are so loyal to him?
That's it.
That's it.
Family
But
and leadership.
He understands family. I mean, did you watch Landman?
Oh, yeah.
The appearance that Jerry Jones has in there, and he's telling that
Jerry's
heartfelt
good,
story
man.
about and the importance of family and life.
That was the most authentic acting I've seen.
You could tell he
ever.
wasn't acting.
Yeah.
Is my
He's
point.
good.
You know,
He is. And,
It's incredible.
But you
Made you
think
wanna
about
cry.
what he's done with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He made sure all his kids, he says, I wanted all my kids to work for me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Well, I'm no Cowboys fan, but I certainly respect the hell out
I
of
didn't
him.
mean to digress.
No,
that was amazing.
That's
Yeah.
a great story.
I'm supposed to be talking about the U.S. Senate.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we are.
I
supposed
got
to
a
be talking
million
about
other
that.
stories.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I always have to ask 3 questions for anybody who comes on here the first time that all of our people listen to. First one of those is, if you can plan your last meal on Earth, what would it be?
Well, given the fact that I don't know what time it is in the day, I'm going to have to
Does
go.
it matter?
Well, it does. I mean, I don't want to eat a spaghetti and meatball at 8 in the morning if that's my last meal.
Hey, who cares?
And so I'm going with the Waffle House All-Star Breakfast. Hash brown scattered. Large hash brown scattered.
That is
And
such
I'm
a Georgia
devouring.
answer. It's ridiculous.
Devouring. But look, no matter 8 in the morning, noon, 2 in the morning,
It's good every
It's
time.
always good.
it always works.
It's good every time. All right, so I'm particularly interested in this question. We think, basically anybody who's successful, they take a look back in their life. And obviously you're in new adventures now. You've spent your life coaching kids at the highest levels. And you've been experiencing a whole bunch of different people, places, and things, and all of that. You're obviously taking on a new adventure here and running for the United States Senate. But if you look back at something you were good at or interested in that you never had a chance to pursue, is there something that you just would want to do that you think you really could have done well, that you just didn't get the opportunity to do it?
Well, I mean, you're talking to a guy who I don't know if you know this, but I spent a little time up here in D.C. I was in the lobby world.
I didn't know
Coke.
that.
Yeah, I know. Most people don't. I actually worked on Capitol Hill for a senator. All right. You're talking to a guy who was a lawyer.
Yeah.
And then he quit and he's a coach and now he's running for Senate.
Yeah. So there is some.
My deal is, I think I can do that, so I think I'm gonna do it. why in the hell? If you think you can do something well, why in the hell wouldn't you do it?
I love that. It's the first time I think we've ever had anybody be like, "Yeah, I did have one thing I was really good at, and now I'm doing it."
But I tell my kids, and I really believe this, because everybody's like, "Oh, how do you? What makes you happy? Chase your happiness."
Yeah.
But to me, happiness is, you can find the perfect mesh when you look at the intersection of what you kind of want to do, like what you enjoy, with what you're good at that serves the public good.
Yeah.
If you can find that sweet spot, what do you like?
Yeah.
What are you good at? I mean, I might like to paint, but if I'm no good at painting, what the hell? What's the point? Like you gotta chase your skills too.
That's a fair
What do you like? What are you good at? And then how does it serve our country?
Yeah.
And if you can find that perfect intersection, you
That's
hit
the
it.
spot.
And coaching was that for me.
Yeah.
And I hope this next venture is that too.
Yeah.
Because I've enjoyed every minute of this campaign.
Fascinating. All right. So our last question is a little esoteric. You may have heard it before, but our view is that almost everyone who is successful in any lot in life is motivated by one of two things: either the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat. And it's not that anybody likes to lose or anybody doesn't enjoy winning. It's like what motivates you to take that next step. What gets you up in the morning like, I'm not going to get beat today. And like Michael Jordan is the polar op. He is the agony guy, right? Who invented slights in order to get his game to the next level.
Right.
We always think of it as like Phil Mickelson or somebody that's like 2-iron over water, 280 yards.
Thrill of
not
victory.
because it's the smart play. It's actually the dumbest play, but he's done it before. And he's like, I think I can do it again. That's the thrill of victory guy.
Yeah.
Where do you find yourself on this spectrum? It's a 50-50 breakdown, I think,
It
in
really
almost
is.
every guest that we
It's
have.
a great question for all coaches. And I told you guys this line earlier. experience is like the comb you get after you go bald. All right. Yeah. Because listen, I've been a part of some great teams. I've been a part of getting my teeth kicked in. And it's awesome because you learn at every level. When I was young, I was free, man. You know, you talk about thrill of victory. Yeah. And you think you got all the and there's a lot of good in that because you're playing free, you're taking risk. Okay. But then you do stupid things. Like you said, why did I hit the 2-iron over the But then there was a point in my career where I started really getting so eaten up by losing, all right, that I lost a little bit of the focus on what it took to win.
Yeah. Oh, like make you a little timid.
That's right. What happens? It's maybe less risk.
Okay.
Or maybe you're not focused on the things you got to do to win. Yeah. You get this, whether it's anxiety or whatever.
Yeah.
And so all those experiences has been really important for me over the last 6 months because I think for me, for Michael Jordan, that agony of defeat drives him to focus. Well, when I think of losing, it distracts me. So it doesn't work for me.
You've done a better job of articulating a thrill of victory than I think we've had.
Yeah. Believe it or not,
I think a coach knows this.
That's
better
right.
Than
We've asked this question to many politicians. So getting here,
most of them are full of shit. And they're not talking from the heart. Okay, that's the difference.
True. It's true.
They're trying to give some answer that gets them votes.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. All right. But John McKay. Y'all know who John McKay is.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say the S word on this?
You can say whatever you want. Yeah.
John McKay, he told his team, just remember, guys, if you lose, there's 1 billion Chinese who don't give a damn.
Yeah.
And his point was, it's really not as like big as you think you are.
Yeah.
All right. And it's really all those experiences as a coach of succeeding and failing and getting a lot of praise and getting absolutely annihilated publicly have helped me in this campaign to stay focused on, I wake up every day, I say a little prayer to the Lord to help me stay focused and do my best, and I go have a hell of a day as best I can. And if I do that every day and I don't win, I can live with the result. I can live with it and say, you know what, I put it all in the right way. And it's not going to define me of who I am as a man, who I am as a professional.
Yeah.
And so that's been my approach, and which makes you really enjoy it a lot better. You stay focused on what you need to do today to chip away. Right now we're doing a lot of blocking and tackling in our campaign. 50% of the voters out there don't even know there's a Senate race, much less who the candidates are. And, those last 2 months are going to be critical. So we're building all that infrastructure, getting our messaging right. And that's what I'm doing, but I've enjoyed every day and meeting people and throwing it out there. And so that's my answer. I don't even know if I answered it for you.
That's a good
But for some people, everybody's different. For some people, that agony of defeat can really lock them in better. So it really comes down to what makes you focused on the things you got to do to be successful, not worrying about the result. And that's Nick Saban.
Dooley may have explained our question better than we did.
I had to say.
That is. You just explained exactly what it is. That's the essence of it. If people want to help you out, where do they go?
DooleyForGeorgia.com. Okay. Now listen, we hadn't even talked about Ossoff. All right. I don't want to digress, but
let's give a couple
my point of the Dooley for Georgia.
We have a shit talk section that we can just get to.
Yeah. Only the people in Georgia can vote. We all know that. But we take money from all over the country, just so you know.
Yeah.
But this is a really important seat. It really is. And the two things that we got to do to beat him, number one, we got to have a candidate who can stay on offense. Because I'm telling you right now, the Georgia people don't know much about John Ossoff. He lays low. He doesn't get out. You don't see him grandstanding on CNN, making standing by Schumer. But that's right, because he would, if Mondami was our senator, he would have the same voting record.
That is the incredible thing about him that I've noticed is that there are many Democrats who are up for re-election now in the United States Senate this cycle who've been more tactful of what they've tried to do here over the last year. He's run to the radical left.
He's 98% by all the things that drove me woke me up and said, "You better wake up, buddy, and get active." He supported it. And we're still dealing with 40-year high inflation he voted for, the open borders, all the problems we have there.
Yep.
The, woke stuff and women's. I could go on the whole list. He's riding shotgun. So somebody's got to be on offense, not having to play defense on their record, their social media, whatever. That's number one. But number two, really important, we got to learn lessons from past elections in Georgia. And to win statewide, we have a very diverse state. You not only have to have a candidate who can energize and mobilize the Republican base Trump voters, but you got to have somebody that can have some level of appeal, connection, leadership style that connects with voters who don't always vote Republican, don't always vote in the midterms.
Yep.
And it's something, as a coach, I've done for 30 years. Working with people, asking them to trust me, who don't look like me, think like me, talk like me, and earning that trust for the next 3 years. And that's a critical piece. It's something Brian Kemp did. It's why he annihilated Stacey Abrams. It's something Donald Trump did in 2024. But we haven't done that in the Senate in 10 years.
Yep.
And we need a candidate who can do those two things.
That's
and
a
I'm
hell
the
of a
guy.
pitch. It's a hell of a pitch, Coach Dooley. I can't thank you enough for stopping on by the Ruthless Friday program. You're welcome to come
All
back
right.
anytime.
Appreciate you guys. Come on down to Georgia.
We might.
I told you the governor loves y'all.
Yeah.
We were riding on a train today, and he had they weren't AirPods. I don't know what the heck they were. And I said, "What are you listening to?" He goes, "Ruthless." I said, "Yeah, well, I'm going on there."
I love
he
it.
loves you guys. Come on down to Georgia, man.
Be careful what you ask for now.
Yeah, you Midwest guys need to get a little taste of God's country.
I think we know what we're in for.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Coach
It means
Dooley,
a lot.
thank you so much.
All
Really
right.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Well, this race in Georgia is going to be one to watch. Obviously, very glad that we got Dooley on here. I know that we're going to get the other candidates on as well. And it's going to be, like, I'm telling you, all of these Republican primaries are going to play out in their own way.
Yeah.
This Georgia one is going to be interesting right down to the finish.
Because
No
unlike
question.
CBS, we believe in equal time.
We do.
Here on the Ruthless
We
Friday
do.
program.
And we put the invite out to everybody because you're not going to hear them like you hear them here on the Ruthless Friday program. For those of you who've been longtime listeners, you know. I mean, you're not going to get the full idea of what their representation would look like until they could sit down with the fellas.
100%.
Have a conversation. So we're glad to do all that. Thanks to Coach Dooley. With that, fellas, I think we did it.
I think so. Absolute banger of an episode. Gentlemen, thank you so much, Coach Dooley, and thank you to the listeners. Remember, if you have not yet, go to the YouTube and hit that subscribe because it's more fun in video. So until next time, minions, keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs. We'll see you on Friday. Stay ruthless.